The Phalanx of the Imperial Fists. When was it originally built? Who did Dorne meet on board of great importance? In what conflict was it badly damaged? And what gift from the custodies fixed it? And welcome friends to another 40k video. First, let's go over a little description for the Phalanx from the book Phalanx. The hull of the ship was many kilometres long, triangular in cross-section, with its upper surface bristling with weapons and sensorium domes. Two wings swept back from the hull, trailing directional veins like long gilded feathers. Every surface was clad in solid armour plating, and every angle was covered by more torpedo tubes and lance batteries than any Imperial battleship could muster. Countless smaller craft, repair craft and unmanned scouts orbited like supplicants, jostling for attention, and the wake of the titanic engines seemed to churn the void itself with the force of its plasma fire. The fist symbol emblazoned on the prow was taller than the length of most Imperial spacecraft, proudly claiming that the ship belonged to the Imperial Fists chapter, one of the most storied Space Marine chapters in the history of the Imperium. The pale light of the star, Kovamesh, and the lesser glow of the veiled region's boiling nebula played across thousands of battle honours and campaign markings all over the beak-like prow. The ship had carried the Imperial Fist since the heresy, and its eagle-shaped shadow had fallen across 100 worlds that had later shuddered under the weight of a massed Fist's assault. Now let's go into some of the lore behind the Phalanx, roughly when it was made, some of the weapons, and a couple of key bits of history. The Phalanx's origin lies shrouded in the dark age of technology, its builder and purpose lost to the great yawning void that swallowed so much of mankind's turbulent history. But it endured, where the record of that time did not, battered and broken in the skies above the ice world Inwit, dormant and awaiting a master who could bind it to the dutiful service once more. Phalanx found that master in rogal Dorne, under whose exacting gaze the mighty battleship was restored to function. It was the labour of many arduous years, for many of the Phalanx's systems baffled even the most adept of Inwit's tech savants. Nonetheless, by the time the Emperor arrived on Inwit in search of his lost son, Phalanx's firepower dwarfed that of entire fleets, and its armoured hide was thought proof even against the fury of a dying star. Thus did rogal Dorne first meet his father from the bridge of a war vessel whose girth rivaled that of a small moon, its foredeck crowded by battle cruisers, while fighter craft untold billowed from its hangar bays. Yet Phalanx was not Dorne's challenge to the Emperor, but his gift. The battle station was a generous pledge of fealty, for even in that golden age, it was unique in its power and fortitude. When the Emperor bade Phalanx remain ever in Dorne's keep, as haven and monastery of war to the battle brothers of his legion, it became the enduring symbol of an unbreakable bond between father and son. In the days of crusade and heresy, Phalanx's shadow fell across 1,000 worlds. The fury of the Imperial Fists followed close behind. So formidable was the vessel that in the opening salvos of the heresy, the traitor Primarchs were said to account for the location of Phalanx before planning any assault, lest its judgment be visited upon their schemes at a most unwelcome hour. Had Phalanx taken a wider role in the heresy, many battles might have unfolded differently, but Dorne sequestered the battle station over terraces to safeguard the Emperor's Imperial palace. It is testament to Phalanx's unyielding strength that it survived the heresy's final days, its vigilance never failing even in the darkest of times. In the millennia since the heresy, Phalanx has continued to serve as an Imperial Fist fortress monastery, acting as a crucial base for their fleet-borne operations. And though Terra is officially recorded as the chapter's home world, to the Imperial Fist this is truly only whilst Phalanx lies in orbit above that most blessed of planets. Whether recruits are tithed from Terra, the Jovian moons, Inwit, Pharos, Necromunda, or any of a score of other worlds, it is to Phalanx that they are brought, no matter where in the galaxy the space station is to be found, there to undertake the next phase of selection and training in the halls martialis. So vast is Phalanx that entire decks are given over to training fields designed to test aspirants to the very limits, each specially developed to represent every kind of combat environment the Imperial Fists can expect to encounter. These rigorous training cycles assess thousands of inductees, though just handfuls will prove themselves worthy of Dorne's legacy, his gene seed as well. Of course, those that remain, perhaps half, survive to earn the lesser honour of induction into Phalanx's Auric Auxilia, a standing body of troops tasked with the station's defence, or else serve as feudal overseers and proctors on tithe worlds. Even the dead serve in their way, their matter compressed to super-dense specks around which the ordnance for Phalanx's punishing macro cannon is crafted. The ship is so big it is a world unto itself, crewed by millions of souls and accompanied by a fleet of a size and splendour otherwise unseen since the time of the Great Crusade. Within its battle-scarred shell lie dusty passageways, untrodden for many generations, and halls that yet echo with the stentorian decrees of warriors long dead. Even those reaches well travelled by shuttlecraft, grav train or unflagging stride seem full of old ghosts and ever watchful eyes. It is as if Dorne himself is still present, judging the deed of those who follow in his footsteps. The battle station is a stronghold such as only the sons of Dorne could design, thick with emplacements, bastions and entire fortresses of unsleeping watch. Slinking aboard unheeded is possible only through great trickery, and afterwards an intruder will find death in every hallway. Even accredited emissaries to Phalanx are accompanied at all times, a restriction especially trying for Adeptus Mechanicus delegates who yearn to delve into the vessel's secrets, but infraction means death swiftly delivered. Yet above all, Phalanx is a temple to duty, its lumens ever suppressed to sombre tones. Every wall is adorned with reminders of battles lost and won, telling of glorious heroics and iniquities beyond forgiveness. No workmanlike clinical hulk is Phalanx. It is a work of immense and brutal art. Ornate murals and bas-reliefs decorate its passageways, commemorating victories on Terra, Ascanisa, the Consus Drift, Maladrax, and 1,000 other kilometre-long hallways with floors of polished marble are filled with trophies innumerable. The last remnants of races and empires utterly lost to memory after they were conquered by the Imperial Fists. Meanwhile, towering likenesses of fallen battle brothers gaze sternly across hangar bays and moorings, the heroes of old vigilant still in the Emperor's service. Deep in Phalanx's venerable heart, sealed from all but the most trusted outsiders, are the shrines of the Imperial Fists, the temple of oaths where once the spiritual heart of the Legion was, dedicated to the ideals of the Great Crusade. It now stands sealed and forbidden for those who were once permitted to walk its halls. Without leave from Dorne, have been dead for millennia. The nearby cloister of remembrance is the chapter's closest equivalent, where the Temple of Oaths is said to be hung with captured trophies and battle honours. The cloister is unfurnished and austere. It is here the captains of the present renew oaths taken beneath the statues of heroes. Surrounding these two great shrines is a ring of armories, meditation chambers and arenas, each named for an ancient battle honour. Ritualised duelling is a common and encouraged practice within the Imperial Fists, for it not only allows disagreements to be settled before they can have a chance to fester, but it also keeps mind and body sharp. Perhaps the greatest shrine of all is Phalanx's Strategium, from which commands are issued not only to the battle station itself, but also to the accompanying fleet. Phalanx is deployed according to the will of the chapter master, but fights under the direction of the Commodore, a captain of a company elevated to such exalted office only after accruing a spotless battle record spanning many decades, supported by officers, navigators, tech magi, and the myriad panoply of void-born war. A commodore acts without fear or doubt, marshalling the Phalanx's formidable wrath with the precision of a true veteran. It is in the Strategium also that the chapter's officers renew their oaths before Dorne's stasis-locked skeletal hand. Though official rumours abound that Dorne continued the noble fight to this day, this hand is the only remnant of the Primarch since he disappeared aboard the despoiler-class Chaos battleship Sword of Sacrilege. It is rightly said with grim humour uncommon amongst his otherwise stoic sons that Dorne yet has a hand in every world liberated and every heretic slain. Yet for all the Phalanx's glory, it is suffused with a sombre truth. Millennia of constant warfare has taken a high toll. Despite unceasing effort, more of the mighty vessel's systems fail each year, and the skill required to repair them has long passed out of living memory. By the close of the 41st millennium, Phalanx functioned at a bare tenth of its former glory. It but seldom bestrode the stars as a colossus of war, and its venerable engines were coaxed to life only in the most dire need. Once home to a legion of over 100,000 strong, with millions of serfs, menials and attendants, many of its vast halls and barracks are now abandoned, not needed by the much smaller chapter that carries the legion's name. Worse yet, during a fateful battle above doomed Cadia during Abaddon the Despoiler's 13th Black Crusade, Phalanx bore the wrathful brunt of not only the arch-traitor's Black Fleet, but also an entire stone fortress. Phalanx emerged victorious against the Blackstone fortress, but thereafter lingered long in Terran orbit, where its wounds were tended on the order of Rabute Gilliman himself. The Primarch Reborn determined that his brother's legendary vessel would only again pie the stars in the Emperor's name, cleansing the galaxy of foes. And in an act of rare solidarity, custodies of the Shadowkeeper's shield host opened one of their dark cells and presented Vaughn Hagen, the Imperial Fist chapter master, with secret tech that had been hidden deep within their vaults. They claimed that it would perhaps give the Sons of Dawn a chance to restore their spiritual home and flagship to at least some of its former glory. Embracing this gift graciously, the Fists immediately put this technology to work with staggering results. Once the repairs were completed, Phalanx operated at a level not seen in countless years. Normally dispassionate Imperial Fists gazed in wonder at chambers that had been forgotten, at cannons that had long been dormant, but now hummed into life. Some openly speculated about the possibility of an ulterior motive behind the Custodes' aid. Captain Lysander insisted that security vetting protocol be redoubled throughout the ship's crews and systems, lest spying eyes have been left amongst them. Regardless, the battle station is born anew, outshining any Imperial vessel, and now it traverses the stars, ready to strike down the enemies of the Imperium once more. The 7th Company of the Imperial Fists are dubbed the Guardians of the Phalanx. So important is the bond between the 7th Company and the Phalanx that when a captain ascends to the company's command, his primary heart is ritually removed and replaced with an augmetic device crafted from the battle station's own components. This transfer of flesh serves to remind the captain of his new struck bond. The augmetic heart is considered a boon and is heavier than the one it replaces, and causes an ever-present pressure in the chest of those that carry it. Towards the end of the 41st millennium, when Phalanx was almost destroyed twice, the 7th Company lamented that duty had called them elsewhere, so that they were not present when these conflicts took place. Later, Decian now rules the Fists, and the Phalanx has been restored to a level of magnificence not seen for millennia. And on that little tidbit about the 7th Company, we'll wrap up today's video.